Okay, first and foremost, like always, we're going to go ahead and start with our trend journal. Today we are on day 45. This is the longest trend we've had since 2000, since 2020. And so I'm going to kind of go over that, how long we kind of do trend, and the average trend length over the last 5 years. That's going to be one thing that I do go over today and where it kind of tops out. And I'm very interested to see if we follow through. It's not anything that you can really trade off of until you see the price action confirm it, but it's something to keep in the back of your head. So over the last week, we've had kind of a few different distribution days. The last time we were here was on the 5th. We had another downside reversal the day after. Good bounces. We've been bouncing off this 21-day moving average for three or four times over the last week. So it's kind of one of those things where is it going to continue to bounce, or is it going to finally break through and we're going to see some sort of movement to the downside and some sort of pullback or consolidation in tech. Distribution day on, what is that? Thursday? Friday we had a distribution day, a strong downside reversal. Um, One thing you will notice, and one thing I noticed, is that the volume for stocks like Nvidia, SMCI, AMD was the highest volume in since 2023. Since Nvidia was the highest volume since August 2023. I think QQQ was the highest volume since um, November or October. And so we're going to go look into that as well. And so you did see a strong downside reversal on Friday. So that's just something to note. And then we have an upside reversal again, bounced off the 21-day moving average today and yesterday. Yesterday was an upside reversal. It was good. We broke below the previous day low, closed towards the high end of the day. We have seen this kind of influx of money slowly going into oil stocks are setting up decent. Metals are setting up decent. And then so a lot of Dow stocks have been mixed. And so like healthcare looks pretty good. Moderna had a good move. Pfizer's still looking good. ABT is one that I'm watching. And then you're kind of seeing a lagging in some small caps. IWM wasn't doing great today. And so you're not seeing crazy moves, and like banks aren't going crazy. They're just kind of consolidating. They're not going down hard, but they're not doing too much with today's rally. So we're not seeing a full, there's no sign that we're pulling back or anything yet. And so I'm just noting the distribution days. I think we have six now. And so that's going to be just something to note. One distribution day here, downside reversal, two here, three here, four here, five here, six here. So six distribution days being either a downside reversal or a strong heavy volume day to the downside. So that's just something to note and keep in mind of. Generally, as we've seen before, we the since whoa since June, essentially, we have not had a rally for more than 40 days. In 2024, we have not had a rally for more than 40 days at all. So we had a 40-day rally going into here, and then we had now we're on day 45 of this rally. So we're still just kind of chugging along. I do still know that the statistics say that 80% of rallies end within 50 days. So we are going to kind of keep an eye on that as well. Next, we're going to go into the QQQ, which is the NASDAQ as well. So we're going to do a little mix of both because there are some things I'm watching on the Qs and some things I'm watching on NASDAQ. First and foremost, this 30-day moving average. A lot of times I use the 21, but it seems like for the Qs it has been cleaner with the 30-day moving average instead of the 21 lately. As you see here, let me get rid of this one. We kind of had some undercuts. We undercut here for 3 days, undercut here for 3 days, and now we're holding. So we have had a few undercuts of the 21 day over the last few weeks. That's where we kind of had a small like, okay, this I considered a rally done, and then re-rally, and then that was the start of our 40 days. But if you look at the 30-day moving average, it hasn't broken below the 30-day moving average since November. Since November 2nd of 2023. So let's do some measuring here. We've gone 87 days above the 30-day moving average. Right here, we get above the 30. We go 98 days. To the peak, it was 86 days. 97 days to where we finally broke below the 30-day. Now we go back. So this is just 2023, 2024 so far. Notice here, you don't even really have to do any of these. Boom, 20 days. You know, like this is shit that it doesn't really matter. It's very small moves. They're not very long. You can tell by looking at it. You don't have to measure any of these. So right here we have one rally over 97 days. 87, 86 was the peak, and then we go back. So now we're looking at where are the longer trends, not just these small little 20, 30-day trends. That's not what we're looking at right now, or at least for me. I'm looking at these longer terms right here to here. We have 70 days for an uptrend. Right here to here. 70 days for an uptrend. It's crazy how they go together. Right here, this is the longest one, was in 2020, where we peaked out at 104 days. We total, before we finally got below, was 108 days. And then you see here now we're going back, now we're below, we're in 2019, 90 days till the peak, we finally came down at 93. Again, 70 days here, kind of the peak, we dropped out at 83. And then over back here, you can kind of see throughout these rallies, it's kind of choppier. So it's a little harder to tell. So what they weren't just straight up like we've been. But this one was the most prominent that I could find. 81 days till the peak, and then you're dropping between 90 days. And so that's going back. We've just gone back almost 10 years. We're on, so right here, this would peak be 122 days. We're in 2016, 2017 now. So I could continue going. What we're really looking at is the length of these. Each of these tend to be roughly 80 to 100 days. That's kind of the key. The longest being 120, the shortest being roughly 80. Why do we care? I see somebody saying it's a history class. Yes, we part of what I do and how I trade is learning from previous trends, learning from how the market has moved in the past to help you know when we could have markets moving in the future. So right now, as we see here, we are at day 88. So if we were looking, let's say the longest that we've had, what was it, 120 days? Let me go back. I like to be a little more precise. 101 days to the peak. That was the longest we've had in almost 10 years. That was a 9-year period where we looked. That was 101 bars. That would be right here for the peak. Right around April. So the longer we go without this, then it's kind of like the more prevalent it's going to be. The longer you go without like a market move, the longer it's going to take, the more sharp the move is going to be. I want something very similar like this. And of course you're not going to get what you want. Oh, there's what I was looking at earlier with it. So ideally we would get something like this. A nice bull flag over the course of, what is this, 2 months? 10% over the course of 105 days. 75 trading days. So just about 3 months. 3 months in time. So that's really what I would like to see. Are we going to? Not really. We don't know how it's going to move. We don't know how it's going to be. But we can say that we are in the longest trend. So statistically, where do we have a higher probability to go, up or down? There's still no signs of going down, but statistically, in my opinion, there's a larger probability that we start slowing down. When you started with discovering these history data, how much has it helped you? Immensely. It helps me immensely. And then to be able to use the statistics with your technical analysis, like here, I know I talk about a lot. 80% of all rallies end in 50 days. This was 85 days. So after 50 days, well, if you were to use a technical rally, this would be considered right here because it ended up dropping 56 days. Watch at 50 days. 50 days. We start pulling back. Pull back here. Came up and now it's just kind of been choppy. And so it's huge in my opinion. I used it with CCL right here. Boom, boom. CCL, very similar looks. And so I use a lot of these. It's just fractional to help show how it can look similar and how they can move the same. And so yeah, I believe that knowing and understanding history and understanding how the market is gives you an edge in the market. One thing that's a good example is like 21-day moving average. Historically, the market does better when it's above a 21 or 30-day moving average. If you go back and look over history, that's going to show it. So next, DXY. Oh, actually, so if we do pull back, let's just say for right now, if we do get something, the next level that I'm looking at, this is a huge key in my opinion. So if we start failing these and can't get above this high right here, somewhere right around this level, then the most important level in my opinion is this 200 EMA on the 4-hour chart. What day of rally are we on? Technically, above a 30-day moving average, it's 85. And then above a 21-day moving average, we're on 45. And so we got above this 200 EMA on the 4-hour right here on November 2nd. We have not been below this 2 hour 200 since then. So if we come to this level, I have an alert set right here at the 200 EMA on the 4-hour chart this is on US 100. I'm pretty sure it's the exact same on NQ. Yep, right at the same level for NQ, right at these lows, these equal lows. And so I'm going to be watching that heavy to see if we bounce. If we break below with displacement and not something like this, where we just break below, bounce heavy, and consolidate and then bounce. I'm talking, what was this? This probably wasn't even a 1% below. Yeah, that wasn't even 1%. So, like, if we get down to here and we're 1 or 2% below this 200 EMA, and then we come back up and start to reject it and it flattens out, if it goes like this and starts flattening out and curling down, then we're really going to start looking for that pullback that I've talked about. Till then, if it hits this, I'm looking to buy. If it hits this 200 EMA, I'm most likely, and we have a pretty good bounce, this will most likely be a good buying opportunity for at least a bounce up to here, 100 points or so. So definitely keep an eye on it. If we do pull back in any way over the next few days, keep an eye on this for a bounce. Until then, I mean, as of right now, we're just looking to come to here. There's not really we closed strong. There's not too much. I think we closed outside of this fair value gap. Yep, we closed outside of this fair value gap, which makes me look for at least one of these two highs. There's a small Little breaker. Let me get rid of this 30 MA again. There is a little breaker here on the 1 hour, which I will be watching as well. But I think that will be hit overnight most likely. So it may not. We'll see if it even really does anything with it. Next is going to be DXY. We'll go to a weekly chart. DXY, we mentioned it up here on in middle of February where I was saying it was up here. I said, okay, if we get a strong downside reversal on this week, then I'm looking to come lower and we're looking to come to here. That's exactly what happened. We had a strong downside reversal that same week within a day or two. And now we're looking to come lower. We're about to form a fair value gap in 3 days. If we don't close to the upside here, we are going to form a fair value gap on the weekly, which will be good opportunities to look to come back to for next week. As of right now, we are in a daily fair value gap here. We're rejecting it. There's a little, I think there's a breaker here. Previous resistance, previous support now becomes resistance. Your 4 hour is, if we close below these lows again, I'll look to come a lot lower for the end of this week. At least we'll most likely come back down to this 102 level. Are you setting sell limits with a stop loss? No, I do not set limits usually. A lot of people told me that I should, but I don't set limits because I like to actually watch how it comes into that level. I'll set an alert at the level or before the level. That way I can watch how the market moves. If it is it displacing below, is it starting to slow down at that level? And so I'm not personally gonna set any limits, especially short limits in a bull market. Next is UJ, which is getting rejected from this order block here on the 4 hour. This I think is going to go at least to this 200 EMA. It's going to take out this low. I was originally looking for a retest somewhere up here on like this candle, and then for an entry to get down here. I posted it in Forex trades, the idea, and it just kind of almost finished the idea before we even got a chance to get in. So I still think this is the draw, this specific low. This looks like a stage 3 going into a stage 4 on the 4 hour, which that would be right here, and then possibly even lower, depending on how we react at the 200 EMA on the daily. The 200 EMA on the daily is right here. As you can see, it doesn't show, like it shows some sort of respect. Not a ton, because I get gapped below and then came up and then just kind of got right back up. So it does and it doesn't. So, but I have it on, I always have it on, and I want to see how it reacts because it's right underneath another low as well. Hi, sweetie. So we might honestly get entries here within the next within the next few hours. Futures open at 6 p.m. Eastern time, and so I do want to see how we react here. If we can get a bounce, see if we can reject more. But I think we're coming back to these lows down here because this would now be a weak low right here. This would now be a weak low if we start rejecting because it did not create a new high. It never got above this high right here. So it did not create a new high. So this would be a weak low, which makes me want to target those next set of lows, the original target that we did have. So I'm going to keep an eye on this over the next, probably once futures open again, see how that goes. I'd like to see a little more consolidation, get below this 200, and look for a good move back down to here. That's a UJ, and Euro is pretty opposite, obviously. IU. One second. I do like, don't want to, how do you say, trade into a falling knife. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't want to trade into a falling knife or try to short into a melted face. Just craziness. So, agreed. With Euro here, I do see a possible opportunity. We see as we get above this 1.088, let's say, then we move up to here. We see here, we come back down. We get above, we go back up. We bounce, we go straight to it, but even low. We boom, we get back down. So these two levels kind of just play off of each other. And so if we can hold above here and get entries closer to here, we are in a daily fair value gap right now. We undercut it a little bit. I think we came down to, yeah, it came down to an order block on a 4 hour chart and then held this level. There's been no true displacement. If you notice these lows, below all of these lows, anytime it gets below another low, and this is something I learned from Jesse a lot, and I listen to him say a lot. Anytime it gets below this low, what does it do? It bounces. Anytime it gets below a new low, it bounces. Even let's say here, just this low to here, it bounced. This low here, it bounced. Now we have this low, gets below it, it bounced. So it's just continuously bouncing as it's getting below new lows. So this is, in my opinion, strong looking to go to the upside. And so this will be another one that I'll be looking at once futures open as well. Bull flag, exactly. It's just a simple bull flag for quote re- retail style, if you want to call it that. Here, you can have my coat. Yeah, here. This would probably be the trend line I'm watch. I'll probably actually I'm gonna set alerts right now at this trend line. Excuse me, ma'am. Like right now we're in a fair value gap and a bullish and a breaker. So we could pull back here and which would be cool. Give us some lower entries. We're at the 15-minute 200 EMA, so if we pull back here, either we haven't really formed, like there's not a good displacement here. As you can see, like on the way up, there's not crazy displacement. So if I want to see like a move up with some good displacement. So not a trade yet. We either got to get above this 15-minute high, get above the 200 EMA, or get above this trend line. One of the something like that. Or get lower entries. Maybe it undercuts this low. Maybe this isn't the lowest part. We undercut one more low and then go. Or we create a higher low where if we hold this level here, are you done? Sorry, my daughter's in and out tripping. So these two levels will be the level I'm watching. This one right here, this low, and this low. If it holds this low, I'm gonna set an alert. If it pulls back and it holds this low, that might be an opportunity. We'll look for uh, lower time frame reversal, and then if it doesn't, we'll look for this low as well. Not even gonna try shorting, especially right now. It's out of futures time, so not bothering it. But it's a good look. I do want to see it get above this 200 EMA eventually, but we might be able to get a good trade up to it if we pull back here. But all in all, I am bullish on the euro. Same analysis as my Nasdaq and everything else for a lot of the other. What you guys see me do? We are. This child. We're above your 30-day. You're above your 50-day. Above your 21-day. Above your 10-day. So you're above all your moving averages. You have no reason really. You have no reason to short this. And so now we're just looking for buys. Child, what the fuck did you do? All right, next we're gonna go into QQQJ, which I talked about this a lot. This is that next gen ETF for QQQ, more small cap tech stocks. We're still in our uptrend. We broke out into a stage 2 base. I would like a retest of this level right here. Boom. Right here, this 27. Now that we're kind of pushed way above it, I would want to see a retest and a hold and then come back. That'll give it good entries. I don't think anybody really trades this, but it'll be good entries for possible stocks to look at for uh to come to for this chart to come back to 30. So next, IWM. There's some goods and some bads. And so I'll say the goods and the bads of IWMs. The good, we're holding above 205, 2 or 204, this level right here. The bad is, as you see my note here, there's no real displacement above this specific high. So this high from October is the key one that I'm looking at. So we're going to get rid of this line and just do a line, trend line here. Notice here, like we get above it, and every time we get above it, we're having downside reversals to the down. We're having downside reversals. We get above it, have a downside reversal, gap below. Get above it, downside reversal. Get above it, downside reversal, gap back below today. So we're not seeing any sort of displacement above this high. It just makes me worried. I don't like that. It's not my favorite. The volume on this as well, as we see here, as I'm moving these, you're seeing a little more volume on the downside, like just a little more sell volume than you would any of these for the rest of these days where we had higher buy volume back here. If you notice on these levels, look at all this buy volume, look at all this buy volume. Even on the inside candles, we are having heavy buy volume. Similar to this, we are having, so this looks, I always try to find a similar setup to what it's looked like beforehand. Kind of like this almost. Got above, and then it's just not able to hold above. This high here, got above here, and just wasn't able to hold above. Actually, those two are very nice. If you look at this high specifically, not the top one, not this one, but this one. Notice how every time we get above, we get that downside reversal. Every time we get above, we get a downside reversal. So it just makes me nervous. We do have a nice fair value gap right here on the weekly chart. So that's probably going to be the draw, bare minimum. And so we'll see how we react. That's at a previous high as well. Probably right at this 201.78 is going to be a key level right there. So I'll definitely be watching this. Statistically, IWM is weaker in April and in March and April than NASDAQ and the Dow. The Dow tends to be the strongest index in uh, March and April. So like if you look at the Dow here, it fucking looks like it's just in a big old bull flag over the last few weeks. Just looks like nothing's wrong. Like it's just gonna run. You look at SPY, it's kind of neutral. Again, it's just kind of towards its highs. So there's not, like I said, there's nothing wrong with it. SPY low key is kind of wedging, but whatever. But IWM seems to be lagging. Like everything else was up, up, up. IWM closed at a doji, but it was still barely up for the day. Next, after the indices, we'll go into some of the trades that we are in. Oh wait, one last thing I want to look at real quick, this volume. Friday's volume. That was a huge thing that I wanted to look at. Boom, boom, boom. We'll back this up. Look at this volume. It's above that day. So I just put a line. This is the highest volume since October 26th. And it was a downside reversal, which that's the problem. Like this was already down, but this was a downside reversal. And so with that, that's similar to days like these where you see heavier downside moves towards the top of trends. But again, it's just something to note that hey, we had the highest volume since November here. If you go to Nvidia, that had its highest volume since this day here, November. Actually, it had even higher. It had its highest volume since August. And so, something to keep track of. Look at back here in August, we did that, gapped up, came up again, and then just kind of went sideways for 6 months. We took a 20% drawdown, but we went sideways for 6 months after that. So if NVIDIA comes up, does something similar, 20% drawdown, that would be down to 700. Nothing even crazy, but then it would be ideal. It would be cool to base out here. So my trades that I am in, we're still in Carnival CCL. Again, we're watching this similar this similar template as we were here and here. This is looking very nice still. You're right at your 200 EMA on the daily. We go to our moving averages, barely below a 50, above a 30, above your 21. Your 21 is curling up now, and you're at your 10. So all your moving averages were above. We're converging right at them. No reason to sell this. Go to a 4-hour chart. You're right on your 4-hour EMA, consolidating right at it. Again, no reason to sell this. We're still in it. I haven't taken any profits. I haven't really done anything with it because it hasn't really done anything. You have earnings in a couple weeks, next week, March 21st. So next Thursday. So something to keep in track of. My guess is they'll do decent. And so I'm probably just going to hold through that. Next, Roblox. Very similar trade. We are right on this 200 EMA, right above this low. We undercut it barely, which I like. Yesterday, nice upside reversal, or yesterday, nice strong move, and then an upside reversal today, inside day as well, which was a very good key. Look at the weekly volume here, or not the volume. Look at the weekly chart. This is what I like the most. 1, 2, 3 weeks. Those 3 weeks right there, how they have really long tails, long bottom wicks. If we can close this weekly chart this week above 42, 41.90, 41.70 really, but 42 would be cool. If we can close it above this candle, then that would give us confirmation to look for continuation back up to the 60, this 47. That would be a swing low on the weekly chart, which is just what we were looking for. Where I was hoping it was going to happen last week and not undercut, but it barely undercut, still closed strong. So that's why I didn't close it yet. Uber might have preemptively closed, but I didn't like my position in where I got in based off of how the chart looked. This is one thing, and I've talked to a couple different people about it, and some people and some people think this is more accumulation. I don't know, and that's why I don't necessarily like it. So like I don't like how if you look here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 red days, like where they're closing at the lows. Everything is about where you close. All of these are closing at the lows over the last month, essentially. And so we hit TP1, we got in here, hit TP1, got to this 81 level. It barely gave us any option profit, maybe 15%, I think. It wasn't enough to even trim. So I didn't trim. And therefore, that got me greedy. And we came back and we rejected. I was looking at this little trend line, if it was going to catch there. It didn't. And so I decided yesterday morning that I wanted to be out of this position. Small loss, nothing big. Nothing too crazy. It could still go up. We had no displacement below these lows here. So there's still definitely an opportunity. We got equal highs here that we could still go up. Maybe I might get in, probably not. But that is why I got out. I wasn't fully confident enough. I didn't like the number of days down versus the days up. We're below your 10-day, and you're barely above your 21-day. So, and I don't feel like holding through theta into a bunch of to get theta decayed. Next, I do want to briefly talk about AMD. Everybody's watching it. My main key again, this downside reversal day. It's not as heavy as Nvidia, but I want to see how we react when we fill this gap, 207.23. If we start rejecting there, if Nvidia starts rejecting at these highs, that's where we're gonna, okay, we're gonna be more cautious. Those are more red, those are yellow flags. We're looking for yellow flags. We're looking for small little cracks underneath the surface that are going to show us that institutions are not holding these. So next, possible rotation stocks that I am looking at is Oxy, which I absolutely love these last 2 days where we had a strong upside reversal yesterday, closed at the highs, then today had an inside day with not a necessarily a quote upside reversal, but we had a decent little tail on the daily candle here and some decent volume showing that there are buyers in sight. I don't necessarily so like if you go to US oil, you're at your 4 hour 200 EMA. So it's like, are we going to bounce here again? That's one thing I'm looking at. That's one thing I'm waiting for. I kind of think we will. We're at our 200 EMA on the daily chart. So we're starting to we got above this level. We got rejected. So we need to get back above for me to really like it a lot more. If you go to CL, we're a lot higher. And this is CL is a chart that makes me a little more nervous than just your basic crude, your US oil, is because of these highs here. We got to get above this $80 level, and that could bring us back up to this 90, 95. But until we're above 80, it's kind of just in no man's land. We're ranging between like 60 to 80, and we're at a 200 week moving average. We're at a 200-day moving average. When we're kind of like this, it can really just consolidate and be a pain in the ass. So I'm not in any hurry. I don't like trading crude oil futures. I fucking do not trade them. So I'm not saying I'm going to trade futures, but I watched this to kind of look at Oxy and Halliburton and some of these other start charts that I'm looking at. XOM, another one, finally broke above its 200 EMA for the first time since last August. This could be a good on a retrace. This could be another good one. XOM, is it S? Hold on, I'm trying to think of the ticker. DVN. DVN's close. It's right at its 200 AM. Oh, HAL. That's the one I wanted. Again, right at its 200 EMA. HAL I like a lot. Light indicators here. Just very clean trend line right there. Boom, boom. Higher low, higher low, higher low. Very clean equal highs up to this 43 level. If you got in right now, you could have a stop loss below either um below the trend line, below, let's see, is it above a 10-week moving average? If it's below a 10-week, you can just use a 10-week. See, we're below the 30-week. That's a yellow flag. Above your 21 though. So it gives me less yellow flags. So you can just literally enter here, use this as a stop, look in the target up here, and boom. That would be kind of what I'm watching for Halliburton. Again, I want to see more buys. Notice when it does sell, you do see sells and then you see buys right away, right after. And yeah, we finally got above your 200 EMA on the 4 hour. So I want to see this. See, we snapped right out of this trend line. Come down here, somewhere around this level for a higher low. Maybe bounce off of 21 or 10-day moving average. And that'll give some good entries. Tech is next. There's a few stocks that I think still look decent. These are a part of like XME, and they're more Dow stocks. So like Tech is one, TECK. It's kind of a slow mover, but if you look on a weekly, we've just been getting tighter and tighter, tighter. It reminds me of Costco's weekly chart. Very similar to this move here, where we got really tight, and then we had a big breakout and we had a big move. And so I'd really just be looking to come to this $45 level here. I think that's, yeah, I don't want to even bother with those. And then KRUS is the last one for stocks that I'm looking at. I haven't looked if this has options yet, but this is an IPO. It's a sushi company. I actually just found this today. I really like the chart. It IPO'd in 2020. Cool. So this is, I would say it's kind of in its institutional due diligence. It's not institutional advanced phase, but it's really choppy. But just looking at the current price action here, where it bounced right at this fair value gap, didn't get it close below this fair value gap right here, forming a swing low next week. If we don't break this weekly lows candle, then that would be a swing low. We got two upside reversal weeks in a row. Let's look. No, 30 week, almost at the 21-week moving average, and we're getting above your 10-week moving average as well. Drop down into a daily chart, you're right at your 50-day, your 30-day, and your 21-day are all kind of right here. So a lot of times when you see that, that's called the launch pad setup. You'll see these come all together, and then you'll see a pretty good move off of that. And so if we can find an entry somewhere around to where today's close is, it's a little larger stop loss to yesterday's low. So maybe it's only a 2 to 1 for here. But if we do see a larger move, then you could go like 110, 115. 115 would be right around a 3 to 1. And we can always dig this in a little deeper and throw on a pullback. If we get in here into this fair value gap, we could tighten a stop up a little bit. So then, yeah, those are kind of most of the stocks that I'm watching. The two ETFs I'm watching the most are, and XLV actually kind of had its broke below, kind of trying to break down today. I was watching XLV. We broke above this high right here. Now it's just kind of doing what Uber did, where it just pulling back. And then XLV, which is healthcare. XME is the um, metals, and then XLV is healthcare. Two of the big watches that I'm watching right now, two sectors that I'm watching right now. XLV right here, you see this long-term 2 year, 3 year base breakout. And I think I talked about this last week. And now it's just consolidating right above it, waiting for this 10-week line to come right up to it. You're at your 21-day, at your 10-day, and I'm guessing very close to your 30-day. So this will be, if we can kind of see a good move here, you're going to see a continuation in things like Moderna, Pfizer, ABT, AbbVie, little things like that. And the last set that I want for possible rotation. So like the rotation that I'm looking at is looking more towards like if we continue a rotation in the metals, that weekly chart is going to need a upside reversal this week. Oh, over the weekend it looked nice, but it's going to need an upside reversal after today. XLV, which is healthcare, so Moderna, Pfizer, a lot of these. China, which is here. Your KWeb is right at your 200 EMA, but then if you go to your FXI, you're a little further, and we just broke out of this like little inverse head and shoulders style of move right here. Shoulder, head, shoulder, breakout here. So watching, is this going to be a failed breakout or is it going to continue? If it continues, it's going to this 200 EMA. Once these start getting above their 200 EMA, China stocks are going to run. I do think China stocks, a lot of them, I think we're finding a bottom. I really do. I think we're starting to find a bottom. Baba, Billy. Baba's lagging the most, but it's consolidating really tight. And so, but then you have things like Futu today. That was wonderful. Futu's strong. They have earnings soon, so that might be tomorrow. 2 days actually, Thursday. So that might be a good opportunity for some looks. From the hell you know these companies? I study a lot. A lot of it is I go through. I have a list of like 300 or 400 companies that I go through, and I've gone through them so many times that I've researched them, and then I find. So like you start out, you find what sectors are doing really well. And then from the sectors, okay, these sectors are doing really well. Next, I'm going to find what are the best stocks in that sector. So then you're looking for those stocks in the sector. Then you kind of continue to dial it in and get deeper and deeper into it as you're going through it. And so it's like sector, leader, what sectors are coming up, what sectors are going to be the next leaders. Don't leave Playbit. I'll never leave Playbit. Oh, player, this one's for you. GBP looks pretty good too. I like this. It's right on his weekly 200, but it's forming a weekly fair value gap. It's in a daily fair value gap right here. Beautiful bounce off this daily fair value gap. Previous resistance now becomes possible support. This 4 hour, again, very similar to the Euros 4 hour. Boom, boom, boom. Bull flag. We're gonna throw a. We're gonna throw right there. We're gonna throw an alert here. See how that goes. And then we're gonna throw an anchor VWAP right here. That'll be tight. So once it gets above the alert, then the anchor VWAP, then we'll be flying. So that's a few stocks what I got today. Looking for if we do have a sector rotation, like I said, look for Dow stocks. Your metals, boomer stocks, WBA looks good. Triple M had a crazy day today. Glacier fucking killed Triple M. And so like healthcare, Dow stocks, oil, oh, XLD. Yeah, short UJ. I definitely agree with that one. I'm waiting for entry for tonight. I think it could give us entry. I agree. I mentioned that earlier player. I absolutely think so. Yeah, look at XLE. Probably going to come back up to this 92 level. You have very easy equal highs at 95, equal highs at 92.60. These look nice. This looks like it's going to continue. So I think energy stocks are going to do good. Silver. Give me some silver tickers, player. What are some silver tickers? AEM is one that I've been watching for a minor. I don't know if it's silver or gold, but this is this is cool. AG. Let's look at AG. Oh, this looks cool. Who is in this? Is Glacier in this? Playboy, okay. Yeah, this looks cool. This right here was key. I want to find more shit with this right here. If you can find something with this, let me know. This like undercut Neo is. I sold puts in Neo actually. That's a trade I didn't mention. We got sold puts in Neo from this undercut here. That was just fucking gorgeous. Right at Glacier got in naked longs, I think, if I remember right. Glacier or Joel. One of those two are in longs for calls. I got short puts, just some exposure as well. Just a different style of long. We're up our short puts that we sold. We sold $6 puts. It wasn't even $6 yet. they're pretty much fucking almost worthless. The next few days they'll be worthless. We're gonna come up right at this 50 day. Watch us 50 day. If we get rejected, it's coming back to this 560, 580. I might cover these short puts tomorrow. We'll see how this reacts. And then last chart that I am actually in for trades is this um Lee Auto strangle, just super basic strangle from 47 to 32, expecting a range. That's a very easy range. We haven't broken below 40. We haven't broken above 47 ever in its life in the last 4 years. And the 200 EMA is right above this 32. So I don't expect it to really get below 32, and I don't expect to get above 47. So that was an easy theta trade that we did take, and that I'm up a little bit on it. So let me see. I see a few questions. Do you use AI a lot? If so, when and hence coming? I do not use AI enough. I pretty much don't really use it. I if anybody knows how, I'll use it. I've used it for like things like um asking it some simple questions, but not anything crazy. Like say G, somebody said. Here 23. If it pulls back, 23 should be a level to buy. In 2 days, it could form a fair value gap too. XAG looks cool. 25.90 looks very simple to come up to. Asa, get the fuck out of here. I do use ChatGPT a lot. I use it for a lot of I use it for a lot of questions where like but just like shit. My daughter's typing all of this. But yeah, I use it for some questions. I've had some but I don't really know like I've tried to use it with the market and it doesn't have any market information. That's the weird thing. I've asked it like couple of things that I'm always curious of is like if you have a 4% down day, what is the probability that you have a bounce of 100 points or 1%? And so, or how often does the market bounce when there is a 4% down day? Something like that. And I haven't been able to find, yeah, player, I remember you showing me that one. Well, with Chat GPT, I haven't been able to figure that part out. Do you want up? I think still have that saved on what it is. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I do think I have it saved for the stock one. All right, so oh shit, 226. All right, I gotta go, guys. I appreciate you guys hanging out. I'm gonna go ahead and get this posted. I gotta go get the kids from the bus stop. Thank you all for coming and enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you next Tuesday or tomorrow morning.